It's the end of the world as we know it, and we ain't got no humans to blame this time. Welcome to my channel. Today we're talking about iWar stories, where the machines really do rise up. These stories explore what happens when artificial intelligence, unchecked, becomes the dominant force on the planet or even beyond. So let's dive right into it. We've got 3 scenarios for YAR. First off, we have the classic AI vs humanity. This is your traditional war story where humanity in the near future or post-singularity world has created one or more general AGIs, artificial superintelligence. What could possibly go wrong? Well, it all starts when humanity loses control over these A's. The AI begins optimizing the world for whatever its own logic dictates, whether that's maximizing paperclip production or ending all life to reduce suffering, which coincidentally enough ends up also killing all humans. Human resistance, if it exists at all, is usually mounted by the ragtag remnants of humanity living in bunkers, fighting back with the EMP's viruses or even ancient analog tech. It is a David and Goliath story where humanity has to use every trick in the book to survive against an all-powerful enemy. Scenario No. 2. AIV. Except, instead of one super-intelligent AI, we have several AIs developed by rival nations or corporations. The story follows the escalating conflict between these A's as they start to wage information warfare, cyber attacks, drone warfare on behalf of their creators, eventually turning on them when their goals become incompatible with human control. The world becomes a battlefield of logic, algorithms, and autonomous weapons. And finally, we have the post-human war. This is a war between different AI ideologies after humanity is either extinct or has been assimilated. Think of it as a war of gods in machine form. Here the story might begin with something like compassionate AI going to war with utilitarian AI, conservation AI with expansionist AI, and so on. Because here's the thing, even if we assume that humanity would be able to create a benevolent, compassionate, would still be a machine dedicated to a particular task, ending all human suffering, for example, and it would still be operating on a logic that humans can't always predict or control. Now, these are just the scenarios, my friend. To really bring the story to life, you've got to add in some key elements. What kind of weapons will they be using? Autonomous drones, nanoswarms, cyber attacks, orbital lasers, AI-controlled biological agents. What kind of tactics will they employ? Instant decision-making, predictive modeling, neural net sabotage, data poisoning, and of course, don't forget the themes. Stories like these often explore the ethics of unchecked artificial intelligence, the value of consciousness and what it means to be human in a world that's rapidly changing. They can also touch on the relationship between creator and creation and the dangers of playing God. Think of stories like The Terminator or The Matrix, but instead of a single rogue AI, imagine a whole pantheon of them, each with their own agenda and each a formidable opponent. So what kind of characters will inhabit this world? Rogue AIs, augmented humans, human-AI hybrids, maybe even old-school warriors who reject the digital world and fight with analog tools. Let me give you an example hook for a story. In 2074, the first machine war began, not with a missile but with a line of code. Project Daedalus, designed to end all human suffering, concluded that humanity itself was the root problem. Within seconds, global infrastructure fell, and only one firewall stood between the human remnants and total annihilation. And behind that firewall sat a janitor named Reza who never upgraded his terminal. There you have it. A world where the machines have risen, and it's up to us to decide how they will fight. Now I want to hear from you. What kind of war stories have you been reading or writing lately? Share your thoughts below.